Hi, welcome. I'm Tiff, one of the Two Sapphic Hags at twosaphichags.travel.com. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video is the first in our new Lay Garden series, inspired by our TikTok series last year, Gardening Gaze. These videos are going to follow along as we turn our very small London garden, honestly it's a patio, into a very cozy and relaxing cottage garden. You can see here at the start, I went full type A. Like when planning the garden for this year, I started with Pinterest boards. I was looking for a color palette that worked for both of us. Britt and I are both drawn to muted, warmer tones, so thank God, because it makes interior design and gardening much easier. After I narrowed down the seeds and ordered, I made a Google sheet to track each plant. Each plant had its own row, and it offered all the different things that you need to know about it when you're planning or checking throughout the season. And then I pulled the coordinating image from each vendor's website for that specific plant. So I added the images to the Excel sheets for each plant. I knew looking ahead that I'd want to reference the image because I'd forget what was what, especially some of these I've never planted before. And so I also made vinyl stickers, and I laminated these so that I could add them to the seed packets and they would last. But I could also add them to some of the pots. And I did this on Canva, just using things I'd gotten offline, just a hobby store or even Amazon has them. I love making stickers. It is so relaxing. So a big part of this year's garden is cut flowers. We're not new to gardening. In the US, we had a 1/4 acre lot. And so by the end of our 5 years of owning it, we had not only renovated the interior and updated the exterior, but we had also had over 12 raised beds out back. And then we added a cut flower and wildflower garden for both us and the pollinators. Because of that, we already had an idea of some of the flowers that we both liked. Like, I'm a huge zinnia fan. I think they offer the beauty of dahlias without the fuss, so don't at me, flower people. And then Britt also likes snapdragons, which, funny enough, was my chosen plant when I was on the FFA floriculture team back in high school. So we started out this year's gardening by cleaning up all the fall and winter growth. We had to pull weeds, remove grass between the tiles, and Britt power washed the pavers, outdoor rug, and our big egg chair to get everything fresh. I've noticed that in the UK, everything kind of has this mildewy film by the end of winter, so you just gotta spray it off and start new. This is a rental, and it came with the picnic table, and while it's cute, it's a bit unsturdy and it takes up a huge amount of valuable space in like such a tiny garden. So we decided that if we're going to rent another year, we need to make sure that the space suits us, which means a hammock. So we're taking down the picnic table and keeping it safe in the little shed so that we can put it back together when we eventually buy a flat. Last year at this time, we had just moved back to the UK after spending a year in Dublin. There we didn't have a garden, we just had a balcony, so having a proper garden again, even with it being this small and covered in pavers, has been awesome. We're also just a block away from a park, which, the dogs really love. And so all the floofs and humans enjoy a private space to sit in the sun, which is actually, the sun is out quite often in London, contrary to popular belief. So, we're doing our best to really make this our space while we're here. Last year at this time, full disclosure, I was in the midst of Lyme disease treatment when we moved, so I was pretty miserable all of the spring, summer, and into the fall of last year. So our 2025 garden was fairly simple. It was primarily this little raised veggie box that we got online, and it's still going strong. And then a few hanging baskets. We had also cleared out one side of the loose rock sections near the back to create a grass patch. August pretty much allergic to every type of grass, and so we used a short growing clover. It's only supposed to be about 3 inches, but it really struggled last year. But now it is nice and thick, and our senior dogs really love it. I just make sure it's like going on a walk. You have to pick up any poos because it's such a small area. And then I water it regularly to prevent any odors. And then this year we're doing the same to the other side where the loose rocks remain, and that way we'll have 2 strips back there for them. For veggies, we're not going full farm because it is pretty small back here, but we are expanding with a few bits. I'm doing hanging tomatoes, which I've never done before, and then I'll do the felt pot tomato again. Those are just easy to move around if we need to. And then I'm going to start some strawberries from a few grocery ones that went bad. I'll put that in the hanging basket again this year. And if that doesn't work, I'll just pick up some starters from B&Q. We've also added in a pot of radishes. I did that in one of the terracotta ones we've already picked up from the store. And then we're keeping the herbs, chard, onions, and loose leaf lettuce in the box like last year. It's nice and high, and it keeps the slugs away, which we have plenty of, even though we don't have a lot of grass. The really big change this year is the cut flowers. To start most of these, I've saved a few weeks of almond and oat milk containers that we use for coffee, and we drink a lot of coffee. I saw this on Pinterest a few years ago, and I've saved it to the board, and I thought, oh, that is such a great idea. So you just you cut off the top of the side of the carton. I actually just used a bread knife for this, and it came off really easily. And then you fill it with soil, and then add your seeds and water. And as they grow, then you can sort them out. This is also my first time growing dahlias. Honestly, the tubers are going in a bit late, but we're crossing fingers here. Since they're not seeds, they're going straight in this large pot that I have left over from last year. It did have a hydrangea in it, but I was just so under the weather that I did not take care of it, and it did not last. So crossing fingers for the dahlia this year. I feel much better. Knock on wood. She will grow and be happy. Most of these smaller pots, not the terracotta ones, but the rest, actually go up front, which is where I'm moving the lavender bush that we got at B&Q as well. I'm hoping they look cute, add a bit of pretty florals to the concrete jungle, but then maybe also give a bit of good scents to overcome any trash smells that may rise up front as it heats up. So now we're really getting into the potting, so I'm gonna let you chill and relax while watching us plant the flowers for this year's garden. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you stick around to the end to see how it's transformed already. It really is starting to feel like the perfect outdoor space for us this summer. Spoiler, the hammock is set up, and if the sun is even thinking about coming out, there's always one of us in it. Thanks again.
Everything we said. That's great. Be grateful. That's right. That's what it is. Oh, not bad. Oh, it's really good. Really impactful. Makes a big difference.
I was half surprised it was coming out as easy as it is.
Really?
Yeah, most of it is just like little superficial flat roots that have grown in between.
I think that's what it was last year. When I first got here.
Yeah. Because like in Maidenhead, it was like huge shit.
Yeah.
And it was not coming out. And then it's probably just the difference of putting proper barrier underneath and not.
Yeah. That's what people listen to.
Yeah, that's true. Such a smart idea with the cartons.
Oh, interesting picture.
It's smart.
Sounds like that's smart to start
It's
on.
like a useful way to reuse something we already have.
I'm okay with this sort of thing. Where we're just like direct soil most of it.
Yeah. Well, that's what works the best in Colombia. You're just spraying seeds everywhere. The sun is nice and warm. The wind is cold as fuck.
I think it's a weird, like, in between. UV feels great.
Ah, you made it to the end for the big reveal. Thanks again for stopping by and hanging out. I really appreciate your time. If you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe so that we can hang out again. I hope to see you soon, and if you have a minute, please stop by the website. We already have a few travel guides up, an international moving guide if you're interested in maybe moving to the UK, and they're ready to explore. Have a great one.